Welcome YouTube to Mudstomp Solves. This is a new channel that's going to focus on puzzling, particularly the cardboard type or similar, but it'll also be looking at things to do with general puzzles, wooden puzzles, things like that, um, and occasionally a building process, blocks mainly, not necessarily Lego. So anyway, as you can see by the video, I'm currently sorting the puzzle that I'm focusing on for today. This puzzle is a plastic puzzle that is in 3 layers, and it's basically see-through for the most part, but where you have fish and so forth, it's not. So join me as we work on this puzzle.
Okay, so as you can see, I've finished sorting the pieces out as I sort of talked about. Now I want to get started on making the puzzle, but it's kind of interesting. I just thought I'd show very briefly. I finished a puzzle the other day, which I'll show in a sec, just to show you what it was. It was a really nice 1,000-piece puzzle. It took me a few days across a week or something to do it, but that's kind of typical with the time I get with the kids and things like that. But what was interesting about it was I started off doing it on this. Now, this is going to look really funny, but before I got anywhere, and I was trying to find a big enough surface to build a puzzle on and leave it on, just because of what was available to me, I had it's actually an Amazon Prime box that I've taped up. Initially, I taped all the edges and everything and just had it as a thing. It's gotten floppier over the use, basically. But the other day, I decided to put, I had some leftover Christmas wrapping paper on it, so I put that on there to give it a smoother surface and so forth. The irony of that is a couple of things. Number one is that it actually creates a picture in the background, which made it more difficult to see some of the pieces. However, as you'll see with the puzzle, there's a lot of it that was very dark. And by the time I got to dealing with that dark stage, it didn't really matter about the background because I was more looking at puzzle shapes. So that kind of went okay. And the other interesting thing is because it's wrapping paper, it's very slippery. So I was actually carrying it down the hallway at one point and lost one edge of the puzzle and had to redo it. Fortunately, it was just a border piece, but it flopped around and that. So that being what it was, although I'm still going to use it a little bit, I ended up getting these just the other day. So I think in the UK and the USA, you call them poster boards or something like that. But in Australia, I finally found them. I've been looking for them for ages, and I don't know why. I've just never found them before, but I found them, and I got it from Big W, and it was about $14 per piece, but they're called foam boards here because you have foam in the middle and paper on the outside. So, yeah, obviously anyone who puzzles is well aware of what one of these is, but for me in Australia, it was hard to find them. I got one white and one black. They're not quite big enough for a big puzzle, but for what the space I have available to me, they're going to work well. And the white and black I got because I was thinking that'll give me the contrast I need on different puzzles. With this particular puzzle, obviously it's plastic and it's clear and see-through for a lot of it. So I think I'm going to actually work on the black for this one and see how that goes. But yeah, so that's where I'm kind of at. And this puzzle's small, so it'll definitely fit on those. But yeah, let me get started into that, and we'll see how we go. And hopefully you're enjoying that. So yeah. So having a quick look at progress made so far, I was a bit surprised in that I discovered, sort of after sorting really, funnily enough, so the back of the box, this is the best picture I've got to go off. So that's the 3 layers put together, and then you've got these 3 images to sort of track down. Now, I'm not too fussed because they're kind of big enough that, I mean, they're only a few centimeters, but they're big enough to tell what's going on. And for the most part with the pieces, you can sort of see a lot of detail. I've sorted off the edges nicely, although that's ended up being a bit of an odd one. We've got all the blue, and I've got like orangey yellow pieces and that. And excuse the reflection, it's my ring light. But yeah, I've kind of made some good progress, I think. I'm pretty happy. I had to sort of shift focus. I thought this white area was quite small and so forth, but turns out it's a quarter of that middle picture. So I've done, so to speak, 1/4 of 1/3 or a 1/12 of the puzzle already. But I think I'm going to focus on the blue next to try and get this bulk of blue done. I'm feeling like the white top there might be a thing, but sort of, I can see pieces, like there's pieces here where you can see it's sort of blue and white half, so that's probably from that. And there's the dolphin there, so there you go. But yeah, it is sort of, I'm liking it, but it's interesting, but it's simple enough. I'm going to have this done in an hour or so, I guess. I don't know, maybe a bit longer, but I'm really enjoying it. The colours are nice. The pieces connect all right once they're down. I wouldn't go to pick these up at all. You really need them fully connected for them to sort of stay still. And then I don't think, I'll have a look. It's hard to pick them up anyway. Yeah, see, it just doesn't hold at all, unfortunately. So yeah, this is going to be a finish it and then slide it off onto the storage pieces. There's a paper plastic something inside the box where you can layer each one on. So I'll be doing that once I'm done with it. But yeah, it's sort of, it's fun and it's going well on the black. I think the color, choosing to do it on the black was good. And actually, funnily enough, I've moved my ring light around because I've done some other filming before, but this one's probably giving the best viewpoint on stuff, sort of having everything right here down near the bottom. So yeah, I'm going to continue working in this space, but I'm going to move this stuff up and like I said, try to work on this blue section, I think, mostly. So I'll use some of those edge pieces and I'm going to put this blue tray up over here and just really work on as much of that as possible. There's a few big things in there like the sharks and that, and I think this is all, it's either whale or ship. And actually looking at that now through the camera lens, you can see the ship lines, the wood lines. So yeah, that would be the ship. The whale's a bit obvious too, I think, somewhere in there. I'll find it later, I'm sure. So yeah, anyway, let's see how we go. Hope you continue to enjoy it. So some minor reflections before I move on to the next piece of this puzzle. No puns intended. Excuse me, intended. Yeah, next piece as in the next layer. So there's 3 layers. I've done this one whole layer of blue. I've done a bit of the bottom one. And if we have a look at the pictures again, so I've completed this bottom one. I've done the bottom of that one, and I think I'm going to move on to this one because it's crowded with fish and I think it's going to be easier to build, and then this centerpiece will be really good on that to finish off with. I am enjoying it. Honestly, it's been really nice finding the pieces, and for the most part, they're pretty easy to match where they go. Not many misfits or anything like that to be worried about. What I will say that I have the biggest issue with is that there are some issues with connections. Now, I think it's this piece here is a little bit damaged. So that's really loosely connected. But as I showed you before, they don't hold very strongly. I'm not sure if that's usual with these types of puzzles, with the plastic puzzles, or if it's that this one's just too thin to do it. I think that on the whole, I do feel like maybe it's too thin on this particular puzzle. I am having one more that I'm going to have a go at after this. These are the two plastic puzzles I have. I'm kind of eager to have a go at this one just because it looks kind of interesting. Probably be a bit more difficult because it's all grey and whatnot. You can't see it real well there, but you get the idea. It also has a box I think it sits in. So based on this imagery on the back, you've got like a case that you put it into or something. I'm not entirely sure, but you put the three pieces together and lay them on top of each other as the same as this one. But yeah, I'm hoping that one's a bit thicker, and it seems in the casing, but I haven't opened that box at all to see. But I will say that's probably going to be my biggest negative on this puzzle set, if that's the case, is just the sheer fact that they don't hold super well. I will say, like, the spacing of everything in this is nice. It makes it easier to connect lots of pieces together very readily. So it's rather interesting pictures in that way. I'll see how the other two pieces go, but yeah, it was quite easy to sort of go, okay, this here is over this area. And then once I had it built, to basically go, all right, well, this is going to go next to that, and then gradually find this piece. Took me a while to find. And so eventually I found it and connected the two. And then I'm like, oh, okay, the dolphin goes above, and so it was nice in that way. And look, it's a small puzzle. I mean, between three panels, there's 540 pieces. So 180 pieces in one panel is a pretty small puzzle. But on the whole of it, yeah, it's been quite interesting, and I am enjoying the process in that regard. So I'm probably going to flip these pieces over. Or rather flip the board I'm working on around so I can work on the other end. I'm going to try shifting down because I've basically, if you have a look at my setup here, it's just in the lounge room. I usually put the puzzle box there and then I'm working here, and I'm going to try and move it down here so you get it lower in the camera, and hopefully you'll be able to see more of the puzzle as I'm building it in the time lapse. So yeah. But I will say too, like, I've worked on a few small puzzles lately. I'll show you in a second some wooden ones. And I am enjoying it. It's a nice break from doing a bigger piece puzzle. That bigger one I referred to before, it was a good puzzle. I enjoyed it, but it is nice to have a little one where you feel like, little victories a bit more regularly. So yeah, let me show you these wooden ones I've been working on. Okay, so these are the wooden puzzles that I've worked on recently. Plural, 5 of them. I'll show you a bit closer. I had... there was a sale basically post-Christmas, and I have never done many wooden puzzles. I've seen some of these done on some channels, and I thought I want to have a go at them. They were pretty cheap, very heavily discounted, so I decided to get a few of them. I worked on this one first. I really like elephants in this. I forget which elephant this is. I always forget. It's horrible. I have a feeling it might be the African elephant based on the patterning and all that. So I love just the shape of the elephant, in a sense, if that makes sense. When you compare all the different elephants, I really like this subgenre of the elephant, if you will. But yeah, this is a really lovely puzzle. I really enjoyed putting it together. The pieces are really funny. Like, they fit well, but it's like you've got to get quite a bit done for them to start holding together, which is fine if you're aware of it. And to be honest, like, most of it is just going, oh, that's that piece, and put it there, because a lot of it's very clearly detailed about where it goes. But then once you get moving into it, you can sort of start working on piece shapes, all very interesting piece shapes. I'll try and pull some out in a bit and show you, but they're basically like in here, maybe you can see it there, this wolf kind of shape, or a dog. So in this one, there was a lot of animal shapes and things like that, so that was really interesting. My only critique of this is that the two things really that I find negative about these puzzles. One is that they come in a packaging, I'll show you in a second, in a little plastic box. You can order them in a wooden box, but it's a lot more expensive. So I just went, okay, just cheap packaging, that's fine, I don't mind. But they come out smelling of what I'm assuming is the varnish that they seal the puzzles with. It stinks to high heaven. So I've had these airing for a couple of days after they've been made to try and get them to just calm down a bit in the smell. It is a bit better now, so when I store them, they shouldn't be as bad, I don't think. But yeah, it's sort of, that was one negative. The other is that they labelled as A3 puzzles, which in my mind is an A3 paper size, and they are not A3. Like, this one comes close to being it. That one is definitely more of an A4 size. So it's just been a bit of a yeah, that's a little bugbear from me, but I have enjoyed it immensely. In this one, I'm trying to find it through the camera, but it's hard to see. This one has more things like, again, animals, but you've got little dragon pieces and things like that. There's a bunny, for instance, which is really great. So, but I really love this puzzle. I really, really like this one. I built the red side first, followed by, I think, the white and then the blue. And it was just, yeah, it's a really lovely puzzle. I like that one a lot. Then we got to this one. I got this one more for my daughter. Not that she'd do it. She's quite young, so it's a difficult one for her. But yeah, it's just for looking's sake. This one's got a whole lot of mermaids and seafaring fishes and things like that in it. But it was a really nice one. I will say it was one that was a bit harder. You can see it sort of separating a bit. There's a ship there, actually. It's a bit hard. This one took a bit more to connect together and hold together, but once it did, yeah, it's lovely. So yeah, following that, I did the butterfly one, and this one, as you can guess, probably has little bits of butterflies and things like that, different creatures similar to that. I think there's a dragonfly in there somewhere. That's a butterfly right in the middle there, or a bee, if you will. I don't know. So that was a really lovely one. And then I got to this one, and I picked this one because I really like my seafaring pirates and all sorts of things. This was a really crazy puzzle to do in a way, mainly because there's a couple of really big pieces like this one here, this barrel and stuff. But other than that, it meant that it took a long time for it to hold together completely. But yeah, it was a really nice, I like it still. And I'd say that's the thing overall. Like, I'll show you again all the individual little pieces a bit in a second, but this was a really lovely set of puzzles to do, good break from doing big puzzles, and it was just a lot of fun to get into. So yeah, that's my wooden puzzles that I've done just before my plastic ones. So I'll look forward to finish off the plastic ones, and then we'll be back onto some bigger ones, I think. So let me show you these pieces. So I've just pulled a few pieces out. So as you can see, there's a bit of a fox type character there. We've got a bit of a wolf head, a turtle, and then you get these sort of random pieces. So I think out of the whole puzzle, you probably get about 20 or 30 sort of particularly cut pieces, and then you get mostly the rest of the sort of random shapes to fit with it. But that's cool. It's fun seeing them and all of that. And you can see some of them are copied over. So like there's the wolf head again. But then we got like a rhino and an elephant in this one. And there's like a dragon piece as well. So they do sort of cater a bit to the puzzle type, and sometimes it's a bit of replication. Excuse the wobble as I move around a bit. Again, in the mermaid one, we've got like little mermaids and shell type fish crustacean things and some boats again. So again, a bit more specific to the mermaid one. Having a look at the pirate one, you can see you've got like swords and maps and chests and barrels and anchors. So a lot of very specific. This one was very individual. And I did this one last, so that was really cool because basically none of the pieces matched the previous ones. Whereas again over here, like we've got a dragonfly. That dragonfly's in one of the other puzzles, but then you got all these butterflies in the butterfly ones. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I would really encourage you, if you get the opportunity to do these, any wooden puzzles, yeah, have a go at it. I think they're a lot of fun. They're a bit intricate, and they're just very individual, unique pieces, and just a lot of fun to sort of, you know, break up the mood of a hard puzzling session, I think. So anyway, I'm going to get back to the plastic one and hopefully get that finished pretty quick, and you can check that out. So yeah.
Okay, so you can see that I've managed to finally finish this puzzle. My apologies for the reflection. Unfortunately, with a plastic puzzle, it's well, it's about the only thing you're going to get out of it sometimes. But anyway, as you can see, the pictures themselves are actually quite lovely. They're quite good, strong colours, quite well defined, that kind of thing. So from that perspective, the puzzle's been quite lovely. Unfortunately, from a different perspective, the puzzle gets quite difficult to deal with. And honestly, because of that, I won't be doing the other plastic puzzle that I had saved up, at least not for a while. Problem number one was that basically it was difficult for me to pick the pieces up and place them. They stuck down a lot. They were very curved edges. I was expecting them to be fairly square on the edges, if you know what I mean, like vertically, but they're very angled. So they're quite annoying to sort of use that way. I'm constantly having to dig my nails under them, that kind of thing. Oh, by the way, while I go through this, I'm trying to shift these onto pieces of paper. I'm recording this audio later because at the time I had a lot of kids running around, so I was just trying to get the processing done. But yeah, I wanted to reflect on the puzzle regardless. And yeah, anyway, so it was sort of like digging nails underneath to pick the pieces up and things like that. Problem number two is the pieces don't connect very well, which is probably partly because of the angling on the edges, but just generally they don't hold particularly well. Some of them held a little bit, but on the whole of it, it was just really quite the letdown. And unfortunately for that reason, you will see that I'm unable to pick this puzzle up or put it together and see the three layers together. I didn't have the plastic sheets that are supposed to come with it, so you're supposed to build them on plastic sheets and then layer them and take the plastic sheets out. But honestly, I think even if I did have those, when I took the plastic sheets out, it would just fall to pieces. So yeah, it's sort of honestly, it was just a real big disappointment, this puzzle in that regard. Um, I enjoyed the picture. I enjoyed sort of sorting it and doing it in that regard, matching colors and shapes and whatnot. But yeah, the rest of it's just been really frustrating. So I'm looking forward to moving on to bigger and better things, basically.